All right, welcome back to One America News. Well, the campaign trail is heating up as all eyes are now on Wisconsin and the state's upcoming primaries. Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump has made several stops in the state, and he's taking the time to sit down with One America News right now. Here's our own Neil W. McCabe with that live interview. Neil?
Hey, thank you very much. Mr. Trump, thank you for being with us. Our viewers just watched this amazing rally. Sort of talk about what was the atmosphere like that for to be looking into that crowd?
Well, it was amazing. The crowd was fantastic. I guess they had 4,000 or 5,000 people here, and they had in another room 5,000 people. And by any standard, this was a great Wisconsin crowd, and I loved it. It was very hot in that room.
I don't know how you could breathe.
Yeah, it was pretty hot. I should have done this interview before as opposed to after, but it was an amazing crowd and great response. And I think we're doing really, really well in Wisconsin.
And for those people who are worried about global warming, it's snowing today too outside.
But it's beautiful up here. It's a beautiful part of the world.
Well, so we have we're in Wisconsin now, but we have New York coming up, and I'm curious. I really believe the turnaround of New York City came with Ed Koch, but the problem with Ed Koch was that he knew what had to be done, but he didn't have the will to do it, whereas Giuliani had the will to do it. You were right there on the line of scrimmage. Could you compare sort of the lessons of Koch and Giuliani?
I was there for both, and Ed Koch did a really good job in his first term, but as it started to get along, you understand, he started getting angry, and he wasn't like the same guy. Rudy came in. Rudy did a really, really good job when Rudy was mayor later on. When Rudy was mayor, he really did a wonderful job, and especially on crime. He wanted it ended because New York City had a problem with crime, and Rudy really started that and did a great job.
The willingness to go after even the Fulton Fish Market.
Yeah, many things. Even the guy with the squeegees, you know, they'd have people with squeegees all over the street. So you'd drive your car in, and you'd have somebody with the squeegees asking for money. The whole thing was a very unpleasant deal. And Rudy Giuliani went and did a good job, really good job.
I've spoken to a number of people as we sort of follow you around, sir. I've talked to ministers. I talked to Al in New Hampshire.
Right. Al is great.
How Al described to me how you asked him what needs to be done with veterans. And I've talked to a number of people who have worked with you one-on-one to develop these things. You seem to have a personal curiosity about what you can learn from someone. What do you learn when you talk to a Giuliani?
Well, I do, and I learned from Rudy, and I learned from somebody like Al. You know, Al with the veterans has been so incredible. We won New Hampshire, and we got a tremendous amount of the veterans voting for us. I think no matter where we go, the veterans vote for me, because I'm the only one that ever mentions them in the speeches. The veterans are not being treated fairly. But you learn a lot from guys like Al. He devotes his life to the veterans, and a guy like Rudy, who's been, you know, a great mayor and a great guy, and gets it. He really gets it. And so it's great to have them as my friend.
On the plane with Chris Christie.
Right.
What are the kinds of things that you guys talk about?
Well, Chris is another one. I mean, he was just so effective when he campaigned, and just I got to know him even better. He's been a friend of mine for probably 15 years, but Chris Christie has been amazing and a really tough competitor. I mean, I had to go against him, and I want to tell you, he was a tough competitor in terms of the race. But when he called and he sees what's happening, it's a movement. Nobody has this. The other people left. They had like 200 people and 300 people, and we had, 8,000 people? Because, we had a hall next door that was holding 5,000 in addition to the 3,000 or 4,000 people we had.
People are on top of each other out in there.
It's amazing. It's an amazing scene. And it's Wisconsin. You wouldn't think you'd have these gorgeous open spaces, but they came from all over Wisconsin to see it. And then I'm going to another one now. I'm going to another rally. And then on Sunday I have a couple more, and on Monday I have a couple. So
let's go. So this phone. So did Governor Christie call you? Did you call him? How did this come together?
He called to say amazing, because he sees things like this, and we've had him in Orlando, 25,000, Mobile, Alabama, 35,000. We get by far the biggest crowds, including Bernie, who's second in all fairness, but we get by far the biggest crowds, and it's like a movement. And basically, it's a movement to make America great again. It's very, very simple. It's a movement to make our country great again. We have lost at everything. We lose on trade. We lose at the border. I mean, Mexico, what Mexico's doing to us is incredible. They're taking our businesses, and we just don't know what we're doing. We have a country with leadership that has no idea what they're doing. Our military can't beat ISIS. You look at the deals we're making with different countries throughout the world on military and trade. And you wonder why we're losing so much. We're sitting at the top of a big bubble because of all these horrible things that are happening, and I'll get it straightened out very quickly.
I think if anyone who studies your business career knows that you put the top people in the right job, and it seems that you're really putting people in on the delegate hunting and preparing for the convention as we sort of move towards the next phase. Talk about your mindset and talk about what you're thinking as you go towards the convention to make sure you lock down those delegates that are supposed to be yours.
Right. Well, I don't know if we were supposed to win Wisconsin, but I think we have a really good chance to win it. And we're pretty close to even on the polls. And I'm up here for another 3 days. I won't leave, until after the whole deal. I think I'll leave on Tuesday, probably sometime late. So I'm doing a lot of speeches. I mean, a lot of speeches just like this with thousands of people. So I think we have a really good chance of doing very, very well in Wisconsin. That's important. And then we have New York coming up, and we have New Jersey, we have Pennsylvania. We have a lot of great states where I should do very, very well, where I'm polling very well, but we should do well. And in the end, we'll see what happens. It's a little bit tough because when I first started, we had 17 people. And you go into those early states, and if I won with 21 or 22%, that was a pretty good number because we had so many people running. One would have 1% and 2% and 3%. So
I remember a poll we did in January or in the spring that showed you at 12 in New Hampshire,
right.
But that was second place.
Right. Well, that's because we had so many people. So that's really pretty unfair because those early states that I won, because there were so many people, you couldn't get that many votes. Because there's never been, whoever heard of 17 people? It was actually 18 people, but whoever heard of that many people running? So those early polls, I would win, but I'd win with 22 and 25, and it's, crept up. Now I see you actually have a pretty good poll for me. I'm up in the 40s in this area, right?
Especially outside
Wisconsin.
the WOW counties.
Yeah, right. I'm doing really well. But we're just slightly behind, which is good because I think I'll outperform.
Everyone roots for the underdog like you, sir.
Yeah, sure. I want to be the underdog. But your poll, I just saw that yesterday. It just came out, and it looked like a very promising poll.
So go back. The delegate count, because every state has their own rules.
Right.
And we're moving into the next phase. So could you just sort of assure our viewers and your supporters that you're going to hold on to the delegates you're supposed to have?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Well, what I really want to do, to be honest, I'm not thinking too much in terms of the convention. What I want to do is get the 1237. I want to get that right now up front. And if I can do that, that's that's the easiest. And then I go against Hillary, and, I haven't hit Hillary yet. I haven't really gone after Hillary yet. And I think when I do, I think we're going to be very successful. I did about 2 months ago on something where she said something which was inappropriate.
Once on Instagram.
Right, and once on Instagram. But when I go after Hillary, I think I'm going to be very successful because I built a great company, a tremendous company. All the papers are filed, and everybody's amazed at how great and successful. And I don't say that in a bragging way. I say that because that's the kind of thinking we need in this country. We have debt now of $19 trillion, going up to $21 trillion with the omnibus budget, and we're going to do something. I think we're going to do something really special. You guys will be very happy.
Of course, we're based in D.C.
Right.
John Hines and I, and we saw you come into town Thursday.
Right.
You drove by. You didn't say hello.
Oh, I should have.
You should have said hello. I had a cake in the oven. But what was the message to the RNC?
Well, I have a good relationship with the RNC. I'll let you know how I get treated pretty soon. I'm seeing things and I'm feeling it out, and I think I have a very good grasp of what's going on. We'll see what happens. I'm right now leading by millions of votes, as you know, many millions of votes over Cruz and over Kasich, and we're leading by a lot of delegates, almost 300 delegates. But I'll see what happens. All I want to do is be treated fairly. I have to be treated fairly by the RNC.
Do you think is there something going on, or is this just hype?
I don't know. No, I'll let you know. I hope there's not anything going on.
You talk about being able to walk away from a deal. You talk about being tough, and you've talked about John Kerry or Obama with the Iran deal and such. But then, sort of the hashtag Never Trump crowd. It seems that they say and do things that you can almost never come back from. Yeah. It's really I think it's sad for a lot of Republicans, but because it's almost like the end of a marriage of what we're doing, the things that people are saying.
It's probably never been anything quite like this, and it's nasty and it's mean, and I guess it's entertaining for a lot of people, to be honest with you. But I don't care too much about that. The people I care about are the voters. The voters are getting it, and the voters are giving me tremendous support. And I hope if I can win Wisconsin, that's going to pretty much put it away. Otherwise, I think I'll do great in New York. You know, the polls in New York are showing a massive lead, and New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I mean, I think I'll do very well, California. But it would be great if I could win in Wisconsin. But you're right, they have people that I've never met. I don't even know most of these people. Very few of them do I know, and they'd never Trump. And they do that because they have their own people they want to put in, because they're special interest people. A lot of people are lobbyists that are backing Never Trump, and special interest people backing Never Trump or anybody but Trump. And they won't be able to do that with me. You know, I'm working for the people. I'm going to make this country great again. We're not going to make horrible deals so that a lobbyist is happy. That's not the thing. And I'm self-funding my campaign. I'm putting up my money, and by self-funding it, I'm not going to be beholden to, you know, all of these special interests.
You talk about a free trade.
Yeah.
I think to a lot of people, a lot of conservative people, a free trade agreement is one page.
Right. Right.
It's not 5,000 pages.
And they're so wrong, because what happens, I believe in free trade, but these other countries have leaders and negotiators that are so much better than ours. We have political hacks negotiating deals. You look at what we do with China, with Japan, with Mexico, with all of these countries that are just eating us alive. They're taking our jobs, they're taking our money, they're destroying our people, and I'm going to end it. And a lot of people don't want that to be ended. You have a lot of these people that are against me. They don't want that to be ended. You know, it's the establishment, and they want to keep it going because they get paid a lot of money by these companies that are making a fortune off the backs of the taxpayers, etc. So there's a lot of animosity, and you know, they don't like that I'm self-funding. They want to be able to give money to people so that they have power over those people, and that's not the deal. So I'm self-funding my campaign. We've been doing great, leading by a lot, leading from almost the time I entered the race, and we'll see if we can get the number. But if I can get the number of delegates before the convention, I'd be very happy.
Right across from our offices on Capitol Hill is the memorial to Robert Taft.
Right.
In 1952, the Republican establishment basically played games with the delegates, took the nomination away from Taft. They built him a memorial, but maybe he should have been president. At what point do people say, like Paul Ryan, who's the chairman of the convention, and we just read in Vanity Fair and in other places where Paul Ryan's people are actively lobbying delegates against you, at what point does he no longer have your confidence as the chairman of the convention?
Well, we're going to see, and we're going to look, and we're going to be watching him. And, you know, I'm not a baby. And we're going to be watching everybody. He called me last week. He was very nice. Couldn't have been nicer. But we're going to see what's happening. Look, I have millions of people that are for me. You know that. Bigger than anybody's ever had. There's never been anything like this. It's a juggernaut. It's a movement. And these are people that are great people. These are incredible people. They want to see America be great again. And they want strong borders, and they want good trade deals, and they want to be smart on NAFTA, meaning, you know, because we don't want another NAFTA. NAFTA was a disaster. Now we have TPP, which is Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is going to be worse than NAFTA. But they see what happened with NAFTA, how it just drained this country, and they don't want that. And I'm not going to allow it to happen. And TPP is worse. I mean, if you look at a guy like Cruz, he's in favor of it. You look at somebody like Kasich, he voted for NAFTA, which was a disaster. Now he wants TPP. So these people don't know what they're doing. And TPP will be a disaster for Wisconsin. It will be a disaster for our country. And it won't happen. It's not going to happen. But the reason it might happen if I don't get in, it will happen if I don't get in, is because all these special interest groups and the lobbyists want it.
And you've been very generous with it. I just want to sort of wrap up with, I know you're focusing on the, you know, getting the 1235, but in the general election, can you sort of describe that national campaign that you would plan on running, and where you think that maybe you can win where Republicans haven't won before?
You know, we want to get actually 1237. If we get 1235, you know.
Oh, excuse me, sir.
We might be one short. If
that would be awkward, huh?
I mean, you know, losing is one thing. To lose by one delegate.
You're walking up and down the aisles.
But look, we're going to be fighting hard. We're going to be fighting very hard. We're fighting very, very hard to win Wisconsin, because that would be a great win. The people are fantastic up here. I have so many friends in Wisconsin. So we'll see what happens. I mean, and then we'll go to New York, and we'll go to Pennsylvania and New Jersey and all the other places, California, and I think we're going to do well. And I think we'll get the votes. I mean, I don't think we're going to have a big contested convention, but only time will tell.
And in the general, you think you can win where Republicans haven't won in a long time?
I do.
California's in play?
I do think so. I think a lot of things are in play. I think New York will be in play. I think that Michigan will be. I think a lot of states that where the Democrats would automatically have them. With me, they're not automatic anymore. So I think we're going to do really well. But again, I don't think about that one yet. I haven't focused on Hillary. I'm only focusing on the 2 remaining candidates. We started with 17. We're down to 3.
Yeah.
And I'm only down to 2. So we'll see what happens.